The crystal in my hand felt heavier than it should have. Maybe because it wasn't just champagne I was holding. It was years of lost rage, thick and suffocating, clinging to the edges of the glass like a weight that wouldn't let go. "Come on," my brother said, flashing that easy, slimy smile of his. "Don't be a disgrace." His words hit harder than a fist. Disgrace. Funny, I almost laughed. Instead, I stood there, my body stiff, eyes glued to the thousand stares pressing into my skin. I raised my glass slowly, deliberately, savoring the sting of the moment. The room held its breath, waiting for the next thing. "Here's to the man," I said, my voice cutting through the thick wedding air, slicing it open like a blade, who was sleeping with my wife while her son was dying for the second time. For a heartbeat, time broke. A glass shattered, the sound more violent than any word. A scream tore through the air, shattering the silence like glass. The white silk of the bride's gown swirled around her as her mascara began to run, black rivers tracing her cheeks. The priest's Bible hit the floor with a thud that echoed louder than a gunshot. And he walked out without a single word. I just stood there, glass still raised, eyes fixed on the destruction unfolding before me. The flames licking at the edges of the world they had built. Watching it all burn quietly with no need for anything more. You don't plan a moment like that. It's not something you craft in your mind. You bleed into it. And I bled. A year ago, I was still the fool who believed family meant something. The idiot who thought loyalty ran thicker than blood. I had a stepson, Jamie. Bright. Breakable. A kid who called me dad, like he trusted me with something I hadn't earned. Then leukemia came for him, like a thief in the night, taking more from me than I could even begin to comprehend. Night after night, I sat in sterile hospital rooms, reading comic books to a body that was withering, growing smaller in front of my eyes. Meanwhile, my brother Ben was slipping into my wife's bed like it was nothing. Like it was a joke no one would tell me. Maybe I should have seen it. The late-night texts, the half-smiles, the perfume on her neck that wasn't hers. But grief has a way of fogging the mind. It turns the red flags into background noise. Jamie died on a Thursday, quietly, like a whisper fading into the distance. I was there, holding his hand, trying to hold on to something that was slipping through my fingers. Ben wasn't there. Neither was she. You don't heal from betrayal. You don't walk away from it whole. You mold yourself into something sharper, something colder. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I didn't beg. I just stood there watching, letting the anger build up inside me like a pressure that would eventually burst. Every lie they fed me was another brick in the wall I was building, a wall they never saw coming. 6 months later, the wedding invitation arrived. Handwritten, arrogant, like they expected me to bless the wreckage they had made of my life. I RSVP'd, bought the nicest suit I could afford, polished my shoes until they gleamed like knives. Then I went to work. Quietly, methodically, I unraveled them. I found the loans Ben had taken out under Maya's name, the photos of their secret trysts in cheap motel rooms, the money exchanged in shadowed corners. I found their web of lies, spun so thick it was almost a thing of art. I hired a lawyer who hadn't smiled since 1984, and gave him everything. The day before the wedding, subpoenas went out, like wedding favors. And now here we were. Ben's face had collapsed in slow motion, like a man who realized he'd just walked into a guillotine. Maya's mascara was ruined, black streaks staining her cheeks. The priest didn't just walk out. He ran, like the walls were closing in on him too. Ben stumbled forward, mouthing words he couldn't suck back into his throat. I took a sip of my champagne. It tasted like ash, but it was mine. Security came. The bride's family screamed, and guests scattered like pigeons in a bomb blast. I didn't fight. I didn't argue. I just walked out, each step out of that room lighter than the last. Guilt had been weighing me down for so long, but now it was gone. Outside, the night hung low, heavy with the scent of cut grass and broken promises. I stood there for a long time, breathing, not thinking about what I was leaving behind, not mourning the wreckage, just letting it all fall away. Ben and Maya would spend the next year drowning in the mess they'd made. The fraud charges alone would wipe them out. The loans, the lawsuits, they would be buried under them. I wouldn't have to lift another finger. But I wasn't interested in their destruction. I was interested in my freedom. I built a new life. One made of quieter things. Mornings that smelled like coffee instead of fear. Work that felt honest under my hands. I didn't chase new love. I didn't run from the empty spaces. Some days I visited Jamie's grave. Told him the truth. That I had failed once. But I would never fail again. Revenge isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It just stands up, raises a glass, and watches the rot reveal itself. They called me a disgrace. Maybe I was. But I was free.